If you ask me about what to do to live long, I always say,
Hello, I'm Andrew Hales, and welcome to podcast number 1 of Inside the Brain. Today's episode, I'm just talking to Axel Bouchon, my co-host. He's a neuroscientist, already a lot smarter than me. He literally studies the brain. Co-founder of Matter, is a neuroscience company that's focused on happiness and the science of happiness and mental health. And I just pick his brain apart. There's a lot of goodies. We talk about all the classics: sex, drugs, and testosterone and oxytocin. And he's just a whiz at all this, and you could pick his brain about it forever. But I think you're going to really enjoy this. So thank you for being here. Please like the video. Please pummel that like button. Please subscribe. Here's the podcast. I'm here with Axel Bouchon. He's a neuroscientist. Have you had any mental conditions yourself?
I experienced it firsthand when my first family basically broke and my wife separated. In that period when I was somehow insecure about can I pay my invoices? Can I see my kids? Can I keep my kids? Can I just overcome this divorce with all the financial stuff? I experienced something what I never believed before. So I literally, there was no sleep anymore. There was anxiety attacks every night. So I remember kind of just being really a wreck. This was, I think, a wake-up call because I was always on the theory side. I could explain you everything, every study in depression. I knew kind of what are you doing, which are the molecules, what are the drugs, the recreational drugs, what is all this? And all of a sudden you're in this disease. Hey, and it dragged on quite some time. So it's like weeks become months. Then you're kind of just like, because you're losing so much energy, you have almost no chance to get out of it. The magic moment at the time was that a friend decided to visit me in a very, very dark moment when I was literally at my home at the time, being completely depressed. Kind of just like I literally could not understand how to continue. And this guy decided, hey, I visit Axel, even though we were not that close. So so my friend Stefan that came and said, hey, I think you may need a walk. And we were walking together through the night for hours. And only because of that move, there was some kind of hope. And that literally step by step moved me back to kind of a normal life. So that already, what I just explained, shows that I was most probably not really clinically depressed, right? Because normally with just visiting a friend, really severely clinically depressed people, this would not be enough. But the desperation that you feel, I think I can very well embrace. And it also showed another thing. Maybe there are other therapies for us on hand that are just human, right? By just coming over and later when I kind of studied the science of happiness in a way, it was very clear. He delivered such a bomb on cannabinoids to me that it kind of just like, it was just like the best antidepressant I could experience in that moment, right? Being alone, family is gone. So no oxytocin, no cannabinoids. These are the two molecules for belonging. And he kind of just delivered this literally like bomb of cannabinoids. Was amazing. It was just amazing. And I think that was almost like a little bit a trigger of, hey, maybe it's not only pills that can help us. Maybe it's what we can do to others to make them feel good.
So connections, cannabinoids. I was thinking like, yeah, you guys didn't smoke weed or anything, did you? On the walk?
No, that's the interesting thing, and I think it's always like this. The nomenclature in science is sometimes weird, right? So the name by itself, cannabinoids, tells us that cannabis, the drug, was known earlier before scientists realized we have endocannabis and endocannabinoids that I just called cannabinoids. So in a way, we have our own weed in our brain. The interesting thing is that it's actually much more effective than smoking weed in terms of what it does to you. So kind of just like smoking weed is just giving you this emotional feeling, kind of just that don't have to specify it. Everybody knows it. Right? You kind of just feel warm. You feel kind of safe. There's almost no anxiety when you smoke
Right.
weed. The point on doing this with a natural move, like taking care of a friend, is it comes together with a memory. I would be surprised how many people really remember like some excessive weed use in a memory. Normally you don't. That is the big difference, because it almost is a kind of cannabinoids give a very long lasting impact on your how you handle anxiety, because a memory that you have friends is like the best anti-anxiety drug you can imagine, because that memory always can be used, that you're not alone.
Right.
And that is of course the issue why, in a way, like smoking weed alone does not really work, right? And kind of just it makes you feel good a little bit, but kind of like it's not the way how it was built, at least.
Well, yeah. Over the long term, especially. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
slow killer. Have you smoked weed?
Smoked weed, and I just don't like it. On drugs in general, if you just think about what I explained earlier, right? We have like 6 molecules that provide us with all the happiness. They are so important that they have not gone away in the last hundreds of millions of years. So these 6 molecules are a lighthouse for us, whether we are on our right track, right? Because somehow it is almost like our purpose to be happy. So now for every one of these molecules, we can just quickly go through it. Humans have invented a drug. As a shortcut, right? It makes, of course, a lot of sense. So I can get dopamine from going to the gym, or I can take cocaine, or amphetamine, or Adderall. It's a shortcut, right? I don't have to go to the gym. I don't have to be excited. I can just get excitement by using something. Then next one in evolution was testosterone, giving me sexual desire, right? Like the interest in mating and reproducing. So testosterone kind of just like being excited, and pornography, what is like a behavior drug, somehow a shortcut. You just
Right.
open a clip and that's it, right? So then the next one in the hierarchy of the evolution is serotonin. That is when we achieved something, we feel proud. Or if we see someone achieving something, we are proud on our friend or our kids. You can just take ecstasy or an SSRI. You get it for free.
Right.
But the point is, you see, the concept is always your brain learns the wrong thing. It learns, oh, I have to take ecstasy to feel that thing. I have to take Adderall to feel excited. Instead of saying, hey, I feel excited because I really like that. Or I feel proud because I really have done something to feel proud. So, and then you can just like continue the cannabinoids, the same thing, right? It gives us the feeling of friendship love. So if I take an effort and call a friend and have a chat and have a laugh, I get it for free. But of course, I can smoke weed and I get it without an activity. And then the kind of the almost last one, opioids, is of course the most brutal one, right? I mean, heroin, fentanyl are the most impressive drugs in terms of what you experience. But I think the concept was built to understand what you really like, your preferred food, your preferred music, your preferred way of having sex, right? You're kind of just like what you like at the movies. I just see this whole thing on pleasure is actually like a bonus that you get for something that really is important for you.
We got these drugs, these shortcuts. Is that to say, when someone's clinically depressed, do you feel like SSRIs are most of the time not necessary? I guess
Maybe let's just look at that SSRI picture for a second. So when we just look at how SSRI works or how effective they are, the reality is that only 25 to 30% of the patients actually respond positively to SSRIs. That means actually it doesn't work for 70%. That's quite impressive, right? And even for the 30%, it's not that you are back completely cured afterwards. You have a likelihood for a relapse of 50%. And then these people who relapse have a second relapse probability of 95%. So in other words, they work for a few people, but for the majority, they don't. So when we go back to the 6 neurotransmitters, right? So we have dopamine, testosterone, serotonin. That's where the SSRIs work, right? Then we have oxytocin, cannabinoids, opioids. So in a way, it makes sense that 1 out of 6 is something like 16, 70%, right? So in a way, the SSRI only work for 1/6 of the depressions, most likely. And we have not really anything else. I mean, we are currently exploring other things that are on the opioid side. And I think we all would agree that kind of like if you look at the faces of people using heroin, they look very happy, right? So in a way, and we know that, for instance, testosterone is an antidepressant for people who don't have enough. So it feels like almost once we would know where is the gap on a molecular level, I could treat it exactly with the missing molecule or with the missing behavior. So if you're lonely because you have no family, that just sucks. So we have to do something for oxytocin, right? We have let's kind of get a puppy, get something to cuddle, right? So we somehow can, between the molecules and the behaviors, we can frame a concept.
How do you plan to quantify something as subjective as happiness and well-being?
Even before we feel something, our brain needs to be activated. And this is happening when between certain neurons in the brain, molecules are released. We are looking at an emotion being nothing else than a biophysical activity. What is objective? In an MRI, we try to image what's happening in our brain, and you can do this by looking at the structure, or you can do that by looking at how the activity changes, what is called functional MRI. And we just invited participants to bring their best memories in the form of a picture. And we asked them to do this when they were in the MRI. So we could basically see in the MRI picture an activity, how they kind of came up in intensity. We could see the emotions emerging live when people were diving and reliving a moment from the past. People had to rate their intensity of the emotions at 2 time points. One, when they really had the moment, and one, when they experienced the same moment in the MRI. And the absolute fascinating result was that the intensity the people were rating it did not differ, almost not, minimal. The understanding how the molecules have been designed helps you to kind of just like leverage them to a level that others who just don't have the basic understanding can know. And I'm always referring to this monk who was kind of just like was told, hey, you're meditating, but you should try LSD. And the monk goes, I know. This is a good start for beginners. And when you compare the brain activity of a meditating monk in the MRI to someone on drugs, I mean, what these guys can do with their brains is like a 10,000x in activity than anybody on drugs. So we have the machine that you can really train to become absolutely phenomenal in experiencing.
The monk, like their lit up areas were all just like glowing, like it was just way more lit up.
It was actually more interesting even. He could activate the regions by meditation, this similar region and same regions that we have seen. So literally he was meditating on emotions. He could switch on and off the pleasure area, switch on and off the pride area by just engaging with memories or kind of just literally stimulating these areas without memories. To make it simple, it's almost like the muscles in your body. You have a biceps who does a curl. You have your glutes who does other things, kind of if you do squats. In our brain, we have areas for amusement. We have areas that do friendship love. We have areas that do excitement. We have areas that do contentment. So in a way, it's exactly the same concept. Different brain muscles work for different emotions. People who have been almost completely absent of mental disease, in particular depression and anxieties, have very high density in these areas that we have identified too. And the last thing is my beloved answer to all the longevity freaks, right? The same areas that we have found have been proven to be connected with people who live the longest on this planet. So in other words, if you ask me about what to do to live long, I always say just live happy. That's all we need. So
If you're not having fun, you're doing it wrong.
yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of gratitude. You know, you're working out your gratitude muscle in a way.
Definitely, the gratitude muscle is here, kind of on the left side, right over my ear. That's where the gratitude area is. It's like one of the youngest areas we have in our brain, so it's almost like reserved for humans, or kind of at least higher mammals. You still have to learn how to be grateful, right?
Right.
You could just play it between, oh, I'm excited and I have pleasure because I like it, and there's no gratitude in this concept, right? So I think the whole idea of mindfulness and gratitude journals have a very strong, very good idea.
People with ADHD, they don't have enough dopamine, right? That's like their thing. They can't regulate stuff. What if taking Adderall helps them live their life, and so all the other, oxytocin and everything else falls into place because they're fixing that one deficit in their brain with more dopamine, like they're exercising more. Are you pro that?
I think if you have ADHD, Adderall is amazing. Full stop.
Great.
I think a lot of people taking Adderall who have not ADHD. Right? So and that's a little bit the challenge. I mean, just if you just look back in history, because I'm German, right? I mean,
Oh yeah.
there was a concept called Panzerschokolade, what is kind of tank chocolate. That was literally different variants of Adderall that made Germany literally do blitzkrieg, because you have no anxiety, you have no interest in food because you feel already satiated, and you have just a lot of excitement. So in a way, it eroded, of course, the body of these people kind of in very large numbers substantially. But just the point is, for a disease like ADHD, that's how it was developed, and I think it was rightly so, and it should be used. If you just use it because you miss excitement or motivation, I think it is dangerous, because if you think about it, right, excitement is designed by evolution to guide us what we want to do, right? Where we are motivated. If you take Adderall, you're generally motivated. This is amazing. I'm in the window business. This is the best. Right? I'm in the bottle business. It's the most exciting area as you can be. Hey, I'm kind of just like literally in the wall painting business. It's completely crazy. And I'm not. What I'm saying is you get excited by everything that comes along. Adderall, to me, takes your fundamental freedom away to find what really motivates you. Because you will just be motivated what comes along the easiest. What in our world is work? So somehow I feel like Adderall steals my freedom to be motivated about stuff that I really want to be motivated about. And that's not for the ADHD patients, right? So that's very important. They really need it because they have a deficit, and therefore they cannot sufficiently focus to learn, to experience emotions, to memorize. So it's very important for them.
How can one figure out if they're abusing Adderall or if they actually have ADHD?
I think the ADHD clinical panel, kind of what you check with your doctor, is crystal clear. So I think it's
Okay.
I would say it's not so difficult. Huh? I
Yeah.
think it has also, I think, a pretty high hurdle because we have to match various symptoms consistently, and I think you have to match 7 out of 8. What is, I think, very, very tricky.
All
I
right.
think that's almost like the most important thing is kind of just like
Just being honest with the pan. Yeah.
yeah, and I mean I know a lot of people using Adderall literally as doping. Like, hey, I have to get that stuff done,
Yeah.
and I know I can't. Let's go for it, right? And I always say, hey, just do it. If you know what to do, then your motivation was before you started, right? So kind of just then do it. I think there's one very important thing to understand. Emotions, the positive and the negative, work on 2 dimensions. So with the 6 molecules, but they work on 2 dimensions. Arousal, that is kind of how intense you feel an emotion, and valence. Valence is positive, are the positive emotions, and negative valence are all the negative emotions. So arousal, the intensity, is primarily dopamine. So in other words, if you take Adderall, you go to very high arousal states. And then if you are motivated for something, you are on the positive valence state. So you have a very high intensity and a very positive emotional experience. Now let's assume, because you're motivated about something what is not really working, but you're still motivated, right? You see that you're not successful, right? Normally what would happen without Adderall is your motivation level goes down, right? You come to a calmer state and you observe and you reflect, and then you say, hey, maybe I should change path. On the Adderall, your dopamine levels stay high, very high. But now the positivity is gone. On the same side, on the negative side of that intensity level is impatience first, aggression second, and then panic attack third. So the point is, from being super motivated to get things done, your emotion being positive and high energy, you can move very quickly into a state of negativity at a very high intensive state that is very uncomfortable. And I think everybody who was overusing either Adderall or amphetamine have experienced that you kind of just like, you get agitated, you get aggressive to people who don't deliver, even though they deliver, but you can't see it anymore because you're too highly intensively stimulated. And at the end, you become literally aggressive. And I think it ends up like, I mean, normally what happens then is at that state, when you finally sleep, during sleep, you have other molecules coming up like cortisol. That cortisol together with kind of completely emptied dopamine situation is like a classical panic attack. So the situation you are in anxiety early in the mornings, when Adderall is kind of completely gone in your system, right? Because you take it in the morning, you have crisis situations that I think are just not healthy.
Yeah. There's definitely side effects and consequences.
Consequences, yeah, consequences. Rules and consequences, exactly.
Testosterone's been dropping since the 70s or something. I got my testosterone checked a couple weeks ago, and it's in the mid-range. I thought it would be really low, but it's actually perfectly normal. So, because I was planning on getting on testosterone replacement therapy.
Yeah.
I'm 35, and I decided against it because we haven't had kids yet and whatever, and I'll probably get.
I would not. Yeah.
So
I mean, but it's a very interesting discussion to have, right? Because being on testosterone, right?
have you been
Feels
on it?
amazing as a male. I was not. I fortunately don't have to.
Oh,
It's
cool.
good. But I have. I worked for a German pharmaceutical company and was selling testosterone. So
Cool.
I've seen a lot of patients, right?
Right.
And it feels amazing because you're like that strong male primate almost, right? What is kind of a very ancient concept, but that is, however, very much embraced in current society as well, and it feels amazing. The point is, your body is pretty smart. It checks your testosterone levels on your blood and shuts down your intrinsic testosterone production. And that is not smart, because testosterone is just one component in a lot of other hormones that you really need.
Yeah.
So it feels amazing, but within really very short period of time, you are at zero endogenous testosterone level. What actually, again, makes you almost addicted to continue with testosterone, because without testosterone, I can tell you, you're really depressed as a man. So I always feel like, hey, if your testosterone levels are fine, go and rather, like the classical thing, natural way of getting testosterone, muscle work. Muscle work triggers literally immediately testosterone production. Again, evolution is amazing, right? You can imagine good-looking men, like classical thing in the ancient days, a lot of muscle gives you a reward.
Push-ups.
So you get more testosterone. So whoever could produce testosterone by doing muscle work was more successful in reproducing. It is as crazy as it is. And that's why I would always say, hey, do everything you can before you take the pill. Kind of just like go to workout.
You don't think you'll ever get on TRT?
I can't wait getting on it, but it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. So I think it's like, I mean, the thing is, it's obvious. It is our primary kind of just like identity is male, being a male. So I think it just like the consequences are like always. It's the same thing. You really shut down your system, and you really don't know when it comes back so easily. So I really rather try to look at the science again. I mean, there are studies that show with muscle work in the gym, you can definitely get back like 50 to 100, what's that? I don't know the unit, but nanogram per deciliter or something. So you can really get back like 25%. And before, so I rather would really recommend that.
Yeah. Do you exercise every day?
Not every day, but I try to do like five times a week. It just feels good. It's a beautiful thing, right? It's dopamine because you're excited to do it. Your testosterone level go up. You feel somehow proud that that you made it to the gym somehow, right? And then sometimes it's really pleasurous, right? So if you think about it, it's like 4 out of 6 ticked off right away.
Yeah, and if you're working out with your partner, then it might be all 6, right?
It's 100%. That's it. I mean, you understood the system, so I think that's exactly what it is. But I think even if you think about it, like the classical basketball game with your friend is an amazing concept. It's just fun, a lot of laughter.
Playing a pickup ball game or with your friends, whatever, basketball, sports, it ticks off all 6 molecules pretty much.
Pretty much, yeah.
Sports,
I mean, the oxytocin is a little bit an outlier, right? Because oxytocin is more like something that calms you down. So, and there's not, I mean, unless you're a wrestler, there's not much touching, right? I mean, you need some skin contact to kind of release oxytocin. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
In wrestling, there's no oxytocin. There's no love between the two players. Right? But I think it doesn't matter, right? I think it is. You can also.
Well,
you don't need to.
It's a chemistry thing. Like it's you pass the ball to a teammate, he scores a point, then you and him have that bond, you know.
Yeah. But from a chemical perspective, that would be more the cannabinoid thing again, right? Belonging together. Oxytocin is I think has an interesting evolutionary origin. You know, this idea that you take your entire life to take care of your kids is actually energetically pretty stupid. But apparently evolution made a huge benefit of it because, of course, the kids were more successful to carry on your genes. Oxytocin and testosterone are kind of just antagonists. They block each other. Imagine your family with your partner who is actually really also hopefully your sexual partner, right? And then all of a sudden your family, and there's like oxytocin all over the place, blocking testosterone. So in a way, there are like two consequences that you really have to be aware. If you don't reserve time with your partner for literally a partnership, also on a sexual side, you will literally dry out on testosterone on both sides, basically.
Wow.
So because the kids are kind of just like overwhelming you with all this oxytocin, but it blocks the testosterone. So in a way, for me, the best and most important thing is really to be absolutely firm on your date nights. This is the most important thing. Really super important.
Wait a minute.
Because otherwise you can imagine that the testosterone desire will not go away on both sides. That means all of a sudden the colleague at work is not giving me oxytocin from the family and I'm all over, kind of just like getting excited. So in a way, you really have to, I really believe that very strongly, you have to reserve and curate your sexual life with your partner and a family. This is so important.
Yeah, like schedule, like almost just schedule Saturday night for
Oh,
sex.
I mean, if you have to, schedule. That's it. You have to schedule this.
That's interesting because I do feel like, I mean, along with age, but like after getting a dog, couple dogs, girlfriend, fiance, like I do feel like my drive has gone down a little, which it's
It definitely has, and it's for sure that the testosterone goes down because it does, right? Your oxytocin, your family environment blocks the testosterone. So what you feel is real, definitely on a molecular level. However, and that is interesting, is it's not gone. It's just because we overemphasize. You see, the dog is pure oxytocin, right? Right. So in a way, therefore, we overemphasize on this more calm, enjoyable family life. But indeed, sexual desire is literally the opposite. So we just have to give ourselves a kick in the butt once in a while, and then we'll come back very quickly. There's also like another, I think, that I was making fun out of this. So if you kind of really are attracted in your marriage to someone else, right? The ideal blocker of kind of cheating is watch a picture of your kids. It's over, done. You will not cheat. It's like literally the oxytocin boost, and you are not even interested. So
cool.
This is the whole thing. And the other thing is also true. When you then have your date night, don't talk about your kids with your partner, with your spouse. It's about you. It's about you. Don't just, that's the whole thing. So no, I mean, this is like mini hacks, right? For kind of the issue between oxytocin and testosterone.
Yeah. So the more oxytocin, it's almost like you can't have them both. Like it's like one kind of crowds the other.
At the same time, you cannot have both. So look at the best thing we have received as humans, orgasm. Okay. There's nothing, it doesn't need a substance, but it's actually a pretty good feeling. So if we just look on the repertoire of molecules, right? First, we are excited and we are sexually aroused, right? Dopamine, testosterone. Amazing. That alone is kind of just like driving us, and we have the fun. If we hopefully have also a partner we are friends with, we get the cannabinoids right away. The orgasm does nothing else than is pure pleasure. So it's a bomb of opioids. And opioids block testosterone. Right after the orgasm, you have no sexual desire. You're just fine for that moment. Okay?
Right. Yeah.
So if you just go, so you see the sequence is dopamine, testosterone. Then you kind of just have the orgasm as opioids, and then you feel proud, hopefully, that the other one has also had some fun, and you are together with a friend. And at the end, you normally lie there arm in arm, what is pure oxytocin, what kind of just levels everything down. It kind of just like shuts down all the rest. So it is actually the design of the human orgasm is actually perfectionism in drug taking. It's like amazing. So, but I think it just shows a little bit why we are so successful, right? If that would not be so good, we would not reproduce like rabbits, right? We're not. Yeah.
That's okay. So sexual activity kind of marks off all 6 molecules too, right?
Exactly, but a little bit phased, right? With hopefully oxytocin at the end if you are really in love with your partner, right? If not, then it becomes quite reduced, right? And like simple sex, just dopamine, testosterone, some pleasure, that's it, right? You get maybe half of it.
Yeah, it's about the intention and yeah. So the main objective is getting people or helping people understand different ways they can hit these 6 molecules in a healthier way and more sustainable way.
That's correct. I would even say that they start, understand, and believe that they have actually a lot of agency on these. Right? So, in a way, if you choose take this example again, going to the gym vis-a-vis looking YouTube shorts, both dopamine, completely different impacts. Dopamine shorts are designed like 12 seconds, what is just not enough to make a memory. TikTok was the same construct in the beginning. This is literally a time stealing machine. Because if there's no memory, you lost time in your life. The gym might become a habit, but at least if you drive it a little bit, that you kind of just create a memory, it is just a different version of the same molecule. So in a way you can, so even if you think about it just from a drug perspective, right? Going back to the weed discussion, isn't it interesting that thing is called joint? So never smoke weed alone. So at least if you want to amplify the whole thing, it should be your friends, and it should then you see just like don't mix stuff up, because that's confusing our brain. So that's a little bit. So it's like a basic education on, hey, this is how the machine works, and I can drive it by myself completely. It has been designed that I can drive it, and I even learn because it guides me to live a good life. And I think that's almost like everything what I would like to transport. And then with a few examples, I think everybody can resonate, or most of the people. I think you see it was great, the idea with the testosterone injections, because it is you can argue it left and right. I have seen people who were a ghost because they had no testosterone anymore. Literally, they were just deeply, deeply depressed. And it's such a pity that no pharma company ever introduced testosterone as an antidepressant. It was never introduced. It's not indicated for it, but we see that huge effect. But then the point is, of course, nobody who's using testosterone is kind of properly educated on the side effects, right? Kind of just like you develop some female issues like testosterone breasts, right? And like all the things. So I think it's always like we don't use substances as a support. We always use it standalone, and then we are surprised it doesn't work. And I think therefore I always feel enjoy that there are so many activities you can do that literally deliver a lot of these molecules, right? I mean, I have lived in Berlin for 10 years, and I have seen, I think, thanks God, the best parties on the planet. Right? It was just like a fundamental, and I love that I have the memories, and I do not forget it because I was completely drugged. So that I think the message. So the good life is out there. It's really out there.
Thank you for watching and listening. Let us know what you think about all this in the comments. Any stories with testosterone? Medication? Let us know. Let's keep the discussion going. And it helps the algorithm. So comment your favorite color. The main theme of this podcast is going to be mental health and happiness and the 6 molecules and figuring out how our brains operate and how we can optimize them to serve us the best way they can. And if you're interested in any of that, please subscribe. Also, this podcast is available anywhere you can get podcasts, so it's on Spotify and everything too.